Greetings. Hello. Greetings. Welcome to Conversation with Tony Mobley. Today is February 25th, 2026. This is episode 8 of 2026 for Conversation with Tony Mobley. This conversation uses the TV broadcast software Mimo Live and Zoom. Conversation with Tony Mobley is produced by Claude Lopez Waterman. Our current team includes Laura Thompson, Zachary Sorensen, Mickey McAture. Thank you, sir. Thank you, team. We have additional support from JJ McKenna and Tamara Pinka. ConversationWithTonyMobley.com is our website. And we have an interactive chat. It's called Mukana. It is courtesy of Alex Lindsay. There you can ask questions, and those questions can be voted up or down. If you choose not to use Mukana, we strongly encourage you to use the YouTube chat. And we want to reach out specifically to educators and parents tonight and say, please ask your questions. This conversation is for you. We are here to support you. You can also watch our conversation on conversationwithTonyMobley.com. It is a simulcast broadcast. We started this year with the theater professional and college professor, Jessica Lopez Barkle. Then we had Ken Jordan and the importance of quality of using AI. Ross McNulty, a digital magician and a fashion meets the future and an Apple Vision Pro evangelist. We also had two of the trio that make up the last Angry DJ show, Mitchell Hill and Mark Giuliani. They were celebrating the completion of 100 shows. We had Gary B. Jr., the free show evangelist, for part 2 of his sharing of free show. And then last week, we had the e-missionary himself, the CEO, AJ, the CEO, who supports congregations and fellowships with providing everything that they need for in-person and virtual worship services. And today, on Conversation with Tony Mobley, we have an educational panel. We have very familiar panelists today who have been on with us before. We have Ms. Chantel Jackson. We have Rabbi David Paskin. And we have Ms. Carissa Worthy. And we want to say that we're going to do something very different tonight. We normally ask our guests, who are you, as the first question. We're not going to go there tonight. We're going to ask that you be encouraged to go back to our past conversations where our panelists have shared multiple times who they are, what they're doing, and why they're a part of this panel. So we're going to get right to it right now. And so the very first question is, how has your family supported you on your journey in becoming an educator? And we're going to start with Chantel.
Good evening. How
Good
has my
evening.
family supported me? We are a family of educators. So my family has supported me by um, my endeavors as far as education is concerned. They're quiet when I need them to be quiet. They engage when I have engaging questions. My children allowed me to use them as guinea pigs as they were growing up when I was learning how to do testing and different protocols. Same with my husband. He allows me to run protocol testing on him before I use it at school. Since I'm a special education teacher, I do have to do some protocol testing and some different assessments. So my family supports me in that way and allowing me to um, take away from some of their time to participate in events like this.
Rabbi David Paskin.
I have a feeling our answers are all going to be the same. We all come from educator families. At least that's my. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why anyone would go into education if they don't come from an educator family. It certainly ain't for the money, that's for sure. Now, my mother is an educator, my father is an educator, and interestingly, it wasn't until I was in high school that I had a really impactful teacher. I, in fairness to my teachers, many of them were probably impactful before then, but I was not ready to receive that impact. But in high school, I got it from one of them, and that told me that this is something worth doing.
Carissa?
Much like their answers, I don't necessarily have a whole family that are educators, or uncle and a father that are in education, but my family has always supported me, even as a child, whether they knew it or not, with me. Whatever I was learning in school and going home and passing that down to my cousins, they were my little students, so they were supporting me without knowing it. As I got older and actually into the field, like as I said, my father and uncle are in education. So, they would give me tips here and there, and just as my entire family basically has supported me.
And again, I want to appeal to those who are watching our conversation tonight. I want to encourage you to please ask your questions. This is a great opportunity to ask our panelists questions about education and the support that you might be able to give to your children and to your students. And so the next question is, let's see if it's coming from YouTube. No, it's not. Okay. Where is education going, in your opinion? And we're going to start with Carissa.
In my opinion, education is definitely looking different. From when I first started, I've been in education. This is my 17th year. So, as a whole, teachers are looking different from when I started. Administration is looking different from when I started. That parent support and is looking different as a whole. Everything is looking different. Educationally wise, as far as learning, how I think things are looking different is we are moving more towards AI. Is a big thing now, not only for the students, but for teachers as well. So we're moving more towards technology based. But and when I say look different, as far as the adults or the teachers, everybody's not going into education like they used to. Um, it's not the most popular field right now. So in the way things are with the administrations, the things that are coming down the pipeline from the top down, so it just makes everything a little bit different and harder. So therefore, it's not the like I said, the most popular field that that teachers are trying to, adults want to go into right now.
Rabbi David Paskin.
I had a meeting this morning with a group of parents, and we were talking about a program that I'm involved in. And one of the things I said to them or we were talking about how the kids wash their dishes after lunch, like they're responsible for just washing their dishes. And one of the moms said to me, "That's amazing. He's even started doing it at home." And I started laughing because I was growing up, that was expected. Like it was, I don't know where we lost that, but goodness gracious, I don't know if it's just education that's changed, but our world, and unfortunately not always for the better, has really shifted and changed. And I think we have come to expect a lot less of our children. And because of that, I think that we perhaps ended up giving them less than they deserve. And so I think this is a really challenging but also exciting moment that for us, it's a moment when we have the opportunity, and I would argue the obligation, to really recreate, to reinvent what learning is all about, especially given the fact that we don't know what these kids are going to need when they grow up. We don't, there's no way for us to know right now what skills, what content they're going to need. And so this is an exciting and a little bit of a terrifying moment, I think, in the education world.
Okay. And who did I miss? Chantel?
Yes. I'm kind of I'm in the middle between Rabbi and Carissa. Carissa and I probably started about the same time, so we saw all of those changes within the public school sector. Um, and I think, but I also am kind of nervous and excited about the idea of the lack of teachers, which requires, because there's so few, it requires the students to depend on themselves a little more and depend on being able to use technology in their own mental strength, their own cognitive strength, and exercise those muscles. So I'm excited to see those kids who don't fight against that part, to see them grow and see what they become for our future. Because there are some who are they're in the microwave world, is what I call them, that they hit the button and everything is done for them. So of course we have those kids, but then the other kids who are willing to do the little dig and use the technology to find out more information and create a new way of learning, which is more student guided or driven and less teacher delivered and more, we're just there to here's the topic, now you figure it out. I'm excited to figure out what those students come up with.
Wow, thank you all for those questions, those answers. We have a question from Clarlock Lopez Waterman. His question is, how can we make this feel? Oh, I'm sorry, David. I'm sorry. You had your hand up. Go ahead.
No, do the question and then you'll come back to me. Absolutely.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
You sure?
Yes,
All
I'm
right.
sure.
I wanted to ask a question of Chris and Chantel. So,
Okay.
I this just came up yesterday. I was at a conference, an education conference on Tuesday, and I was thinking about what you were just saying, technology and AI and fewer teachers and the kids that are going to adopt, who are going to be able to use those tools to learn. Here's my question, because I'm not in the public school world. My gut tells me that because of the sheer size of some of these public schools, and because it's like trying to turn a cruise ship. I mean, they're so huge that it takes so long. I What I worry about is that they will all jump on the AI and technology bandwagon, but what they'll lose is that the teacher piece. What you were just, that the magic that I think that I guess I'm a little afraid that AI is so good. This technology is so good at offering personalized learning and responsive learning to the kids that it almost will become a cop out for a lot of these schools to not rely on the teacher relationship. I'm curious. Am I? Because again, I'm not in the public school world. I wonder if that's something that either of you've thought of or are wondering about.
Ladies,
I see it. I'm sorry. You
go
can
ahead.
see it coming about. However, I get to see both sides of it because I get the ideas of working with the general education population and the special education population. So especially those people, those I call them those cusp babies, or those kids who are right on the cusp between they're struggling, but but I understand. They require the teacher. There is no AI can do whatever AI needs to do, but they require that human interaction, that human directive, that human clarity that only a person can provide. So those students are going to keep us in a job. But I still do think that AI is going to push us to the side for a, a percentage of those of kids. But I think there's still going to be a decent percent that's going to require that teacher, directive.
And I agree with what Chantel said. Basically, What I'm seeing is because we are training and providing more support with teachers, they definitely are kind of using it and leaning on it. But then also through our trainings, we're trying to ensure, that you are the teacher. We need you to teach them and let this be something that's in addition to for students, like those advanced students who may need a push in an area. This can be an addition to and not replacing you, the teacher.
Yeah, I don't worry so much the teachers and their use of AI. My concern is more on an institutional level, and that the districts or the schools or the principals may may see this as a, I don't know, I don't want to say cost cutting because it's not really about cost, although it is, I'm sure, but it's a way to streamline when in fact education is not. There are ways that education needs to be streamlined. There are other ways where we need to keep it very, it's a human interactive experience, I think, at least learning
I,
is supposed to.
I really kind of want to, it's not really a pushback. I really want to talk about the importance of educators from this point of view. When I graduated from college in the late 80s, my first job was long-term supply teacher, long-term substitute teacher. And it was in the middle of Atlanta projects. And the experience for me was that educating the students was only half of the job. And what I mean by that is that we literally had to ensure that there were changes of clothing, that there was additional food, that there was soap and water. And it wasn't a matter of neglect, it was a matter of the resources were not there. And I would argue that every teacher in that particular school understood that that was part. There was a pantry for food. There was a pantry or a closet for clothing. Additional tools, pencils and pens and paper, book bags that were just there for the students to get if they needed it. And, I talk about a lot of things as being ministry, but I think that education in a lot of ways is ministry, and it will continue to be ministry. And that is the piece that I think that most of us have to push back on, because there are going to be people who are going to continue to struggle, and AI is not going to be able to provide that comfort, that word, sharing that bottle of lotion that's needed for those ashy knees. You know, it almost, looking back on it now, almost 40 years ago, it seems like that wasn't real, but it was. And I see us moving back toward a time where the educators have to do more than just educate. They have to be able to lend a hand to support. Although, for all intents and purposes, I've been told that the projects no longer exist in Atlanta, and I really can't comment on that. But I know that there are people, regardless to what communities that they live in, that there is still economic need and support that is needed. And for all intents and purposes, teachers have always done more than was required for them to do their job effectively. And I'm not sure that I really answered your question, David, but it's part of the reason that we're having this conversation tonight is that there are a lot of things that people are talking about, but education is not one of them. And so you know, that's kind of where we are. And I didn't mean to really get into all of that, but that is we're just going to go to the next question. I'm going to stop talking. We're going to go to the next question, and it's from Clark Lopez Waterman. How can we make this field more popular? And
Money, 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 money. We're gonna get a takedown now from YouTube. I'm sorry, but it is. You know, I run a school, and it's embarrassing what I pay my teachers. It's embarrassing. I'm just gonna say it.
I do agree. Money, and I also think that even just the simple thought that you were even just talking about just then, understanding that we're not only educators, we signed up to be educators, but we're also social service providers. We are clinicians. We are therapists when necessary. We are hygiene providing guidance, whatever the student may need at that moment. We may have to provide breakfast. Um, it's ironic that you said lotion for ashy knees. This morning, a student said, "Well, I was trying to be on time for the bus," and it's not a they can't afford the lotion. He just didn't get the lotion. So he walked in and his hands were white as snow. He's like, I need lotion. So, but you just go, you dig in your purse or your book bag and you find some lotion and give the child some lotion, because is lotion going to stop me from educating you today? If that's the one barrier today that is getting on your nerves enough to where you can't hear me anymore, then let's clear that up. So I think that providing understanding that we are providing that also makes this job a little more uh, what's the right word for it? Attractive for someone.
okay,
And if you
appealing,
give me some money.
Carissa.
I definitely agree with the money. I would also say, because I'm not in a school building anymore, I don't get to talk, to teachers as much. But when I do get that chance, a lot of the things that I hear is, it's like teaching is not what it used to be. I think we have taken the fun out of teaching for teachers. It's a lot of, we have to do this because of this legislation. We have to do this because of this, whatever may be going on from top down. So it's not fun for them anymore. I know for me it was fun. I really enjoyed going in the classroom teaching every day. So I think they've kind of taken that away. But if we had that, I think more, more would want to go to the field of education.
David, did you want to come back?
Yeah, boy, do I agree with that. This conference that I went to last night, it was 5 hours. 5 hours. It could have been 1 hour and an email. The speaker was great. The speaker was great for an hour. Everything else could have been an email. And ironically, one of the people that was speaking was talking about how important it is to value people's time. Where, he said, we rejiggered this and we redid this because your time is valuable. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, then why didn't you send me this as an email? And what that did, Carissa, is it reminded me of the red tape that educators have to deal with on the state level, on the district level, on the federal level. And some of it is educational red tape. It's testing, it's curriculum, it's all of that. Some of it is just red tape. I mean, yes, 2 days ago, I had a group of 4-year-olds in the hallway outside my office, and I walked out with an envelope with an address on it. And I said, oh, you know what? I'm going to teach them about an ancient thing called the mail, because the state of Florida requires me to submit all of my paperwork with a stamp on it in the mail, which means I now have to print it, fold it, get an envelope, put a stamp on it, go here, pay a dollar. It's such a waste of my time. And so I gave the kids a lesson in the ancient art of how to actually put something in the mail, which they will never, ever do. But for some reason, the state still requires us to do. Okay, I'm done ranting. Sorry. My point is that pay teachers more, pay educators more, and value them, value their time, value what they bring to the table, and show them the respect that they deserve.
Absolutely. Thank all three of you for your comments. We have a question from Kimberly Mobley. What about being an educator brings you the most joy? And we're going to start with Rabbi David Paskin.
Oh my gosh, you kidding me? Like everything. I mean, when a child asks a question, like a really good question, when a kid gets something wrong, I love when kids get things wrong because that means they get to try again. They get to try something different. When I don't remember who I learned this. I don't remember if it was Sir Ken Robinson, but I remember learning somewhere that you should never, if a child has a piece of art, you should never say, "What is that?" Instead, you should ask more open-ended questions like, "Tell me about this," or "Tell me about the colors you chose," or "Tell me about the." And so, I love asking questions like that and letting the kids explain it the way they want to, not the way I am, kind of. When I don't have to put kids in a box and I let kids be kids, that's just the best. But it's it. I was a congregational rabbi for 20 years, and now I spend all day playing with kids. I mean, there's nothing better. There's nothing better.
I hear you. Chantel?
What brings me joy is when a student finally gets it, or if a nonverbal student is able to finally get whatever he or she was trying to get out from whatever communication device we decided to use, whether it was gestures or head nod or eye gaze or all the way to the augmentative devices. Just that smallest little bit of cellular level growth makes me so joyous. Not the big milestones, the tiny ones.
Wow. Thank you. Carissa?
Chantel took mine. So it's just when, a kid has that light bulb moment where you've been trying to get something and trying to get it and they finally get it. That definitely brings me joy. And because I've had experience on both sides, whether it's in the special education or general classroom, either side, especially when you're working with your special education students, that when they have that moment where they finally get it, that's definitely what brings me joy.
Okay.
And
Thank you,
Carissa, I'm sure it
everybody.
brings you joy when your teachers finally get it too.
Well, yes, when the teachers and the administration get it as well, that brings me joy.
Very cool. We have a question from Kimberly Mobley. No, I'm sorry. We have a question from Vic Hernandez, Springfield, Missouri. How do you encourage curiosity over rote learning? And we're going to start with Carissa.
I would say just giving kids that opportunity to explore. Um, and that's kind of something that we're moving towards, not like you say, that rope learning, and just presenting them with something and then giving them that opportunity to explore that specific thing. I know with math, a lot of times we teach them a trick or something like that to solve a problem, but no, just giving them the problem and having them to work through it. That struggle is what we try to give them. And a lot of times also I see with our teachers, they don't want to release, they want to hold on to the reins with the kids. And so we're trying to move toward more student talk and more of the students doing that heavy cognitive lift and the teacher not doing it for them.
Rabbi David.
In the programs that I work in, curiosity is everything. It's because we believe that children learn best when that learning is born out of their natural curiosity. And so we will pretty much push anything to the side If a child says "wow" or "oh my gosh" or any any sort of any sort of vocal sound that indicates curiosity, we will pretty much push aside what we're working on and say, let's go look at that. That's really fascinating. And then what you're always able to do is find a way to take the same skills they were working on in the workbook or the worksheet or the whatever and address and hone those same skills through that child's curiosity. There's there's a really neat tool that we're using called LitLab, LITLAB.ai. I don't work for them, so I don't get a kickback. But what LitLab does is it's aligned with Florida State standards, and it's also aligned with Foundations, which is the phonics program that we use in our school. And so the teacher goes in and says, okay, Jojo is working on this skill in Foundations and this level. Jojo then logs on and chooses the main character of the story, what the character looks like, gets to name the character, decides what setting this character is in, and then LitLab uses AI to craft a reader for that child, a phonics reader for that child, based on the skills that the teacher assigned, but using the child's choices and the child's curiosity. And so now the child isn't just reading, they're the author. They're a creator of they wrote their first book. They wrote their first book. And it allows children to want more. I want children to want to read, to do math, to do all those things more. And this is one way to do that, is to just allow their curiosity to lead.
Wow. And tell us the name of this is WeLab. What is
LitLab, LITLAB.ai. Here, I've got it. I'll bring it up for you. LitLab.ai.
And those of you who are on device, go ahead and do that screenshot right now.
Yeah, and it's free for educators. I mean, there is pricing that if you want, but if you're a single educator, you can just yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice. They did a very nice job with it.
Chantel?
Creating a safe space to be wrong. My classroom's a safe place to be wrong. Be wrong. Okay, fine. That's wrong. Now let's figure out the right.
Very cool. Thank you all so much. Kimberly Mobley's back. What do you think needs to be done to bridge the gap between the veteran educators who married technology and teaching in a way that increased creativity and imagination? We're going to start with Rabbi David Paskin.
Sorry, I was on mute. My bad. Read that question one more time. That was a good one. That was deep.
What do you think needs to be done to bridge the gap between veteran educators who married technology and teaching in a way that increased creativity and imagination?
So I'm not sure this is going to answer the question, but the question reminds me of a conversation that I had with Alex Lindsay, and that he's had a number of times. The conversation was, what are the best technology tools for the classroom? And basically the question is Chromebook versus iPad. Let's take a step back and just acknowledge that this is very much a first world problem. And I'm well aware that there are lots and lots and lots of schools that cannot afford even the lowest price Chromebook. Having said that, for those that can, the question is Chromebook or iPad. And Alex's argument, which I thought was just so powerful, is that the Chromebook does not allow for creativity. It's a workhorse, like you can type all day on it, but you can't get creative on it. And that the iPad you can. It's naturally a creative tool. And so that's why he believes that in his kids' schools and in all schools, that they should give the children tools that nurture that creativity. So, I, in part, it's the teachers and how they are able to integrate technology, and it's also the technology itself. So I don't know that that answered the question, and I apologize if it didn't, but that's what it brought up for me.
Well, I can tell you that I've been a participant in those conversations with Alex Lindsay as well. And not only have I been able to glean from that conversation, my last job, I was a teacher in high school autism, and we had iPads in the classroom. And what we could do, even with the students that I had, were autistic, and it was a high school autism class, and most of them were nonverbal. And the things that we could do with an iPad, I mean, absolutely amazing. It was the thing that kind of let me know that, that this is a device that can make a difference. And so not only is it, just to piggyback on what you just said, not only is it a good device for special education students, but I think for anybody who even thinks about doing everything in terms of creation and innovation. Apple is a little bit ahead of the curve right now. But let's hear what Chantel and Carissa have to say about it. Chantel?
I think in order to bridge that gap, one, let's say, and I think about it a little differently than Rabbi David was saying. I think about it from if me, I don't know if I would call myself a veteran teacher because I kind of roll on the side of technology more than most veteran teachers. But say another teacher and I were working together, and that teacher may not roll on the side of technology as I do. One thing I do is I'm going to sit down and I'm going to respect the fact of that you or that person as an educator has a lot to give me as far as the wisdom is concerned on that personal relationship side of the house, and lean heavily on that. And then the person or whoever's in that collaboration with the technology, heightened information or knowledge, would try to take that personal and technology and merge them together. I think it's important that we make sure we remember that every student is not going to do well with the technology. Some of them need to get past that personal part in order to benefit from the grave opportunities that our technology could give them. So I would think I would lean that way.
Okay. Carissa?
I would say my experience with veteran teachers are kind of stuck in their way, so they want to kind of do it the same way. But what I would do is work, as Chantel said, work with that teacher. And sometimes it may not be a necessary that they don't want, but they need support with, and they needs to be shown how using this resource within the classroom can be a powerful tool for kids to be creative. It's like we tell them, but sometimes if we show them how it works and what it could look like, you'll get their buy-in a lot more.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We have a question from Corrine Worthy. Do you think the gun violence will change the school looks in terms of setup? For example, homeschooling, non-traditional teaching? Thanks. We're going to start with Carissa.
Um, I definitely think that it could change the way that education looks, as far as, parents being fearful and wanting to keep their kids at home. I think also those schools and, education as a whole are trying to take things and put things in place to try to prevent some of these things from happening. And if they do, they have steps and, like I said, procedures in place. I know for us, there are things that we have training yearly on what we should do if something happens. Kids are trained as well. I mean, it's the reality that we live in. And so I think if parents or others know that a school district has those things in place, then they may not be as fearful. But I could also see this other side of that, and then parents being like, you know what, I'm just going to take my child, I can homeschool them. They're safe at my house, or feel that they're safe at their homes. So yeah, it definitely, this gun violence could impact the way that education looks.
And I asked Carissa to go first because that was her mother's question. Um, Chantel.
I kind of agree with Carissa as far as the look. Yes, I do think it will look different. However, I do think that public schools are open for a reason because people do not have the ability, do not have the resources to educate their students at home. So those students are going to come to school. I think it is our responsibility to do as much as we can as far as following the protocol of what our districts provide for us for safety. But I also think it should be just like I'm riding down the road with my sons when they were growing up, and we're talking about traffic violations and gun violence and multiplication and sight words and whatever else. I think it needs to be second nature in your classroom. I know I talk to my students, baby, I'm going out that window over there. When you see Miss Jackson run, you need to be running with her. We're going here. It's one of those, it may happen. We are praying every single day that it doesn't happen in our school, to our kids, to us. However, I don't want my kids, the first time they see, to my students, and when I say my kids, the first time they see me moving is because it's a drill. And that's the only time we do it. I wanted to be a part of conversation every day. That window, we're gonna bust it open. I got a classroom full of boys. We can bust the window open and we're getting out. While they're over there shooting the people on a hall 200, we're gonna be out the door over here. And somebody got to live to tell the story. And I want us to be those people.
Okay. Rabbi.
That is the most terrifying answer. I mean, it's real. It's disgusting that we even have to talk about this. Look, it already has changed schools. I mean, I live 10 minutes from Parkland, and so when the Parkland shooting happened on Valentine's Day, however many years ago, my daughter was in high school 10 minutes away, and everything went on lockdown. And ever since then, in our neck of the woods, there are metal detectors, and they have to wear this. And for years, I don't know if they still have to. They had to. You only have clear backpacks. So it's already changed. It's already changed, and I don't know how you learn in an environment like that. When when parents come in to tour my preschool, I tell them that I care about two things. I said, I don't care about your kids learning their letters and the numbers. They're going to get that. I'm not worried about that. I care about two things. I care, number one, that your child knows that they're safe. And number two, I care that your child knows that they're loved. If children don't know that they're safe and don't know that they're loved, they can't learn. They won't learn. So having to navigate a school and an educational world in which we have to be afraid of, we have to do gun violence drills. I don't even know what to make of that. And that's old news. Gun violence. The new threats. We had ICE show up to our temple 2 days ago. Thank God we didn't let them on campus. But we have. I mean, there are so many ways in which we are just shooting ourselves in the foot when it comes to giving our children a safe, loving, compassionate, gentle, merciful environment in which to learn. And gun violence is certainly one of them.
So I'm going to ask, after you made that statement, I'm going to ask Carissa and Chantel to explain ways in which they think that maybe um, students can be loved. You know, that's not something that, you know, Rabbi David Paskin is the leader of a private school. Are there some ways that we can do this in public schools? And we're going to start with Chantel.
Definitely. I know I think it's often, I'm a big proponent of love as an action word. I don't need to tell you I love you. I need to show you every single day. I show you by showing up every day. If I tell you yesterday that I'm going to be here tomorrow, then I'm there tomorrow. If I say that, hey, I'm going to not, we have trainings and stuff going on all the time. I'm going to miss this day. However, I'm going to come back this day. And then we, celebrate the fact that I'm there. Because I want it to be where it's noted that you're missed. That's how, to me, I kind of measure, that's my barometer of, do my children know that I care about them? Do they know that I'm there for them? Because do they notice when I'm gone? Because if you don't notice when I'm gone, then you don't care that when I'm there. So I think it's something that we do every day. So it's not one thing, it's not two things I can do. I show up, I'm consistent. I'm always, you're going to get the same Miss Jackson on Monday, on Friday, on Wednesday, when I hate coming to work, when the paycheck is short, when I don't feel like doing it, when I'm tired, when I'm hungry, when my back hurt, whatever the case may be. I can't take that out on you, because when you leave my classroom, I call it my apartment 340. When you leave apartment 340, I need you to know that once you walk outside of those doors, that world is that world. But when you come in here, you're in the safety of love, in a place where you can fail, you can learn, you can make mistakes. But whatever you do, even when you say stuff that's rude and mean and disrespectful, I still love you enough to correct you. And when you leave here, just take that with you, so that you leave my space better than you started. And I know that that one kid can take it to the next kid, can take it to the next kid. As you said, it's a ministry. So I'm busy ministering every day.
Carissa?
I think some ways that I have shown my kids that I love them and when I was in the classroom is, as you say, creating that safe environment for them to learn, to want to learn. And also, I think just building relationship with your kids. Yes, we are there to teach them, but they have things going on at home, taking an interest in what they like to do. I had a set of twins, they like to play tennis. I like to play tennis. We would converse about that. I went to one of their tennis matches. So you got to build relationships just outside of, yes, I have to teach you, but let me find out what you like to do. They have, like I said, may have things going on, come in, they're in a bad mood. So what's wrong? What can I do to help? So I think building relationships is a big part of showing that love.
Wow, thank you. David, did you want to come back?
No, they got it. That's it.
All right.
Right there.
Okay, so the next question is, please give us an overview of where you think education is going. And we'll start with Carissa.
David didn't want you to come to him first. I think we kind of talked a little bit about where it's going earlier. I think as far as the educational piece, moving toward more technology based, our students being accountable and having more of an ownership of their learning and us not just giving it to them. I think that's all I got right now. You might come back to me.
All right, Chantel.
I don't know, I'm scared. I think some of it is a little terrifying where it's going, but I think definitely technology based. I think we are going to have to work hard as the human educators to teach our students to use that technology wisely and guide them into, Rabbi David is always saying about the questions we ask our AI. teach them how to guide them how to ask the AI the correct questions to get the responses they need, in order to allow for that individual learning and that creativity to flourish and to flourish and be productive. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to just send outside of our classroom educated individuals. We want to send out productive citizens. We just talked about teachers don't make enough money. We don't want to send our students out into the world to make not enough money to survive, because we still want them to be productive citizens, because I don't want to pay for them. Taxes are high enough. We don't want to keep paying for them.
Rabbi David.
I don't know where it's going. I have no idea. I know where I hope it's going. And where I hope it's going is born a little bit out of the way that the large tech companies, the Googles and the Apples, the way they interview their prospective employees. They're not asking their prospective employees to show them their diplomas or to, they're not asking them complex coding questions. They want to know how they work in a team, or they want to know if they're self-starters. They want to know that those soft skills. And so what I hope is that education is going to start spending more time on that, and that we will give as much energy to teaching about character development as we do to intellectual development, because that's where I think the promise really lives, and it's also what we're most lacking. Technology is going to outsmart all of us, if it hasn't already, within months, not even years, within months. It is going to outsmart not dummies like me, the smartest people in the world. What we can do that it cannot is build character. And so that's where I hope it's going.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you, ladies.
Wait, let Chantel jump in. I want to hear what she has to say.
I want to piggyback on Rabbi. I think it's ironic that you said soft skills, because me and my special education IEP writing self, it is required for us to create transition plans for our students who are 13, 14, getting ready to transition from middle to high school. And part of that transition plan is like some of those soft skills, the social skills, living skills, your basic life skills, those things that we talk about and we have at our dining room tables, that we teach our own individual kids at our dining room tables, in the cars, in the laundry room, washing the plates when you're done. Those kind of skills, they're written in the IEPs, and these are supposed to be your bottom 20%. So I'm not understanding, and this is just Miss Chantel and not Miss Jackson, is just not understanding how it is not imperative and important for those skills to also cross over into your upper 80%.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Please talk about your own personal professional development. What are you doing as an individual for your own personal professional development? We're going to start with Chantel.
I love AI. I try to figure out to put all the questions in AI to see if they come up with what the books say, because I am a reader as well as the user of technology. So I'm big on trying to see what technology says about whatever PD I'm studying. I like to bring technology into the classroom. I think it's important to merge and teach parallel your regular life skills as well as academics. Our style, again, I want to teach a whole kid. I just don't believe in just teaching read, write, arithmetic. Yes, those things are important, but if I read, write, arithmetic and go to the grocery store and swipe my card and it says insufficient funds because I can't balance my account because I didn't know that I needed to use that read, write, arithmetic to balance my checking account, what good is it?
Mhm.
it's like it's a
Okay.
moot point to me if I don't know how to apply it. So most any just about any PD or training that I'm looking for is learning how to take the academic knowledge and transition it into the community or into real life, real world.
Okay. Carissa?
I think my own personal development, our district is really big on professional development. So we have trainings at every level, the district level, school, at school level. So I'm constantly attending trainings. We're doing a lot of AI trainings right now. Also, in my department, I work in the assessment department. So most of the time, yearly, we go to some type of professional development around assessments. So we get our yearly trainings outside of our district. And then we also have a lot of in district trainings that are provided for us.
Okay. Rabbi?
I'm a tinkerer. I learn best when I can push buttons and play with stuff. That's why I'm on every beta because I like to push all the stuff. And so I mean in this new world that we live in, I'm just in heaven because I like Chantel said, I can jump into any of the AI tools and just press buttons and ideate and think out loud. And what's been happening for me is just I'll give one example, and it's I hope this translates well because it's a so I every Friday I teach the kindergarten, first, and second graders about the Torah portion of the week. Torah is what we read; it's from the Bible, and there's this particular portion that you read each week. And every week I've been developing a lesson, about a half an hour lesson, and I've been using AI consistently for the interactive piece in this. And what AI did without me even asking it to is it pointed me in a really beautiful direction. And then it has kind of kept me there and it's allowed me to then develop it even more. The direction is how these texts or these stories from the Bible can impact our psychological and emotional development. And, you know, so we talk about leadership, we talk about emotions and all that other stuff. And as a rabbi, like it's obvious that it does that, but I hadn't thought about that when I was preparing the lessons. And because we have these tools now that allow us to just play in this playground of ideas and thinking out loud, it's I'm just in heaven. So unlike Carissa, if I never have to go to another professional development class, that's fine with me. But I just want to keep learning and learning and learning in the way that's best for me. And boy, if only our educational organizations and institutions could realize that teachers and educators are just like students. We all learn differently. Some of us will do really well at traditional PD. Some of us don't. Some of us need to tinker. So that's how I get my learn on.
Thank you. Thank all three of you so much for that. We're down to our last question, but before we go to our last question, Rabbi David, do you want to tell us about who's on the rundown tomorrow? What the subject is?
Yeah, I have to look it up. I don't even know. No, tomorrow night we're actually talking about safety. The promises that technology have made in in how we live our lives and how the idea that robots doing dangerous work and when cars are all aligned because they're all talking to each other and driving themselves and all of this, the question is that really safer or is that just the facade of safety? And what does safety really look like in a technological world? So that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. Yeah, and I'd love to see everyone there. Join us, the rundown.show.
Okay. Carissa, is there anything you want to share about maybe things happening tomorrow?
What's happening
No?
tomorrow?
Teaching any great classes tomorrow? I don't know.
You talking about
Um,
Miracle Bible Way?
yes.
Okay. Tomorrow is our Bible study. So we have a weekly Bible study on Thursdays at 7. Um, so tomorrow is Bible study. I support my grandmother's church, Pastor Patsy Willis, Miracle Bible Way Church of Christ. So we can drop the Zoom information in the chat for you all if you would like to join us tomorrow for Bible study.
Okay. Thank you. Chantel, do you have anything you want to share?
We'll just be out in those real estate streets tomorrow. Look, you said teachers don't make any money, so we all work. We have 2 or 3 jobs. So look, I need good vibes for this showing tomorrow because I need a contract on this house I have listed. How about that?
That's
In North
fantastic.
Augusta, South Carolina. So if you need a home, Georgia, North Augusta, or South Carolina, I'm your girl.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. We're down to the last question. And as always, you are speaking to the world. What do you want the world to know? And we're going to start with Carissa.
Um, What do I want the world to know? Specifically, I would say we didn't touch a lot on it, but for our parents, just staying engaged with the teachers, the educators in the building that are supporting your students. And I know I work sometimes with parents, I tutor sometimes. So just them learning as well as their students. So if there are things going on and they are able to go to the schools, go to the schools. I know our district, we provide parent nights to help parents support their kids. Go to those things so that you can help your students. And if you can't help them and you are able to afford a tutor, get those, provide your kids with those resources that they need so that they are successful.
Rabbi David.
I would piggyback on that and say in our school, we have a number of kids who work with different therapists, speech therapists, occupational therapists, physical therapists, and we have found that they are our best friends as educators. They are so important. And so creating a team for your kid, for your child of mom, dad, or dad, or mom and mom, whatever you have, or aunt or grandma, teacher, therapist. And then if you kind of are into the whole Reggio thing, also thinking about the environment. We talked about gun violence and technology. Think about that environment as the third teacher, but really creating a team for your child. Boy, that's a gift that's the gift that keeps on giving.
Fantastic. Chantel.
I have to say, I like the idea of the team. Create the team, make sure you're an active team member, especially from the parent's point of view or guardian or whomever. Rely on those people who can provide good resources and good ideas for you, and just always try to leave things better than they started each day.
I want to thank each and every one of you so much for being a part of this panel today. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming and sharing in this conversation. It's always, I'm going to say it this way, it's always a blessing to be able to see each and every one of you. Um, we're going to, I have some links, but I'm not going to go ahead and announce them, but I'll just mention one or two. Online universities are offering courses for parents or anybody who has wanted to do that. Harvard, MIT, and there are a number of other universities and colleges that are offering free online courses. I want to also mention conversation apps that we've mentioned in the past: Khan Academy, Quizlet, Duolingo, Prodigy, which is a math game, and there are so many others that we really want to mention tonight, but we didn't get to it. But we're going to have another educational panel real soon, probably in the month of April. But we would just want to say, thank you all so much. You can watch Conversation with Tony Mobley on our website as well as YouTube. Conversation with Tony Mobley is produced by Clarlock Lopez Waterman. Our current team is Laura Thompson, Zachary Sorensen, Mickey McAture. And we want to say thank you, sir. Thank you, team. Thank you, Mimo Live and Zoom. If you like the graphics in the lower thirds that are shown, that's Mimo Live. We want to thank Zoom also. We have conversations with real people. Stay tuned for new episodes and great conversations with real people. We want to thank you that we are near 200 episodes. We're 181 or 2 episodes of Conversation with Tony Mobley. And we want to thank everyone so much for that. We ask this, if you have time, go back and look at some of the nearly 200 conversations that we've had in the past. We think that you might find something that is hopefully helpful to you. We want to thank our panel today for being a part of this conversation today, and for being and doing and for being the people who you are. Thank you all again so much. Chantel Jackson, Carissa Worthy, Rabbi David Paskin. Thank you all so much again for being here with me today. We will not have Conversations with Tony Mobley next week, March the 4th. We will return on March 11th. And we ask that you stay tuned for an exciting conversation. I don't want to tell you what it's going to be right now, but stay tuned. I think you'll be excited about it. So please feel free to support Conversation with Tony Mobley by volunteering. If you have an interest in learning how to use a TV broadcast software package like Mimo Live, you can volunteer and learn how to use it on our back end. It's an amazing application. Please feel free to donate to Conversation with Tony Mobley. We want to keep it running. You can donate on our website. We also ask that you please like, subscribe, and comment on YouTube. We want to keep getting better. So we thank you all so much. We're going to say good night. God bless you. See you soon. Bye-bye.